Just give me a sign, Mike, if you think we can start.
66. I would say if we could wait till 5 after,
All right.
then, because we only have 66, so.
Okay.
They're coming in slowly to the waiting room.
They
Right.
are. They're waking up slowly. Joel, make sure you unmute yourself.
Sorry. So you
Yeah.
guys didn't hear me now?
No.
So
No,
I
because
said,
you.
okay, so like I said, welcome everyone. This is the QuickMaths Pro webinar. Please note that this session will be recorded and then publicly posted on YouTube. So if you don't like to be on video on YouTube, please turn off your videos, okay? Because I'm going to do some editing with the video, but not too much. Okay, so let me start with this, some practical things first. So it's going to take roughly 2 hours. Each separate demo can take between 10 to 20 minutes. Please ask questions after that, after I've finished my separate demos. Okay, this is something that Mike and Martijn already are taking care of. Videos will be turned off, session will be recorded. Okay, so that should be clear.
Breaks?
Breaks, okay, what was it again, Mike? After 50 minutes, right? So around, after an hour, we're going to take a 5 to 10 minute break.
Yes.
Right?
50-minute, 10-minute break.
Exactly. So topics of today. First of all, before I go into the QuickMaths Pro demonstrations, I need to do a short intro, also an overview of the main masking methods. So this is a part for everyone who already has my advanced masking video that will sound familiar. But I need to do this again. I'm going to do it very quickly so people know exactly what's behind the QuickMaths Pro panel and what you should be taking care of and keep in mind. Then I'm going to go into QuickMaths Pro versus the manual advanced masking method, because you need to know that QuickMaths Pro is basically the partially automated version of the advanced masking method. Then I do some preparation that you need to do before you can go use the masking panel, and then the actual Photoshop demonstrations, including the mask optimization. Okay. So as you can see here already, intro. Okay, need to switch to the next page. Why am I not going to the next page? The stupid, oh, there it is. Hold on a minute. So masking starts always in the field. Well, this is something that whenever I look at the instructional videos on YouTube or look at tutorials, no one is ever mentioning this part. Well, this is actually a very important part. The thing is, you can save yourself a lot of time and frustration if you start masking in the field already. And for example, if you look at a studio portrait photographer, what they always do, if they want to mask out their objects, their subjects, their sitters, they make sure that the background is always quite neutral. They make sure that the lighting is always good, so that it's going to be easy for them to mask out their subjects. Sometimes you would use a green screen, because then you use the specific unique colors, so it's easy to mask it out afterwards. So for example, if you look at my background, my virtual background, so this is not based on a green screen, so you see that it's not very accurate. It does quite a decent job, but it doesn't do a perfect job. So the same for let's say if you want to create a portrait in the studio and you don't have a green screen, so then make sure you always have some good contrast, because basically the contrast and the colors are very essential. Good colors, good unique colors, and good contrast are essential to make use of any good software. If you don't do that, you have to do everything manually with a pen tool, for example. Okay, so masking always starts in the field. Well, I'm going back now. Here we go. So basically, there are three main masking methods. First of all, the contrast-based method. So something like, let's say, a tree. Make sure that if you want to mask out a tree quite easily with software or with Photoshop, make sure there's enough contrast between the figure and its ground. So I'll talk a little bit more about that, about figure ground principles, but make sure that there's always enough contrast. If you don't have that, you can also try to make use of some unique identifying colors in a specific plane. So for example, this virtual background is based actually sort of contrast based because I'm not using the green screen. As you know, if you go to Zoom, you can indicate if you have a green screen. So if you check that box, what it will do then is to use the color algorithm, okay? And that's going to do quite a very good job. But since I don't have that, it's going to use a contrast-based method. So for example, if I try to adjust my lighting over here, then maybe you see that some parts of my head are going to be visible much better, I think. I'm not sure, but I'm just trying to make a point here. So now it's contrast-based method, okay? And then you also have the manual method, like the pen tool. Again, I'm going back to the first page. Why is that? Okay, hold on a minute. So I'm talking a little bit more about that in a few minutes, okay? But I'm struggling here with my presentation. It's always going back instead of forward. Okay, I need to go do this then. Okay. So before I go a little bit deeper into that, we need to know what mask we need to create. And before we can make a good decision on that, we need to be aware of what I call the figure ground principle. And the figure ground principle, again, this is quite annoying. Do you know what's causing that, Mike? Because I only go backwards instead of forward. Okay.
Using the
Yes, say that again, Mike.
using the arrow keys or the mouse?
I'm always using the arrow keys, but for some reason it doesn't work. Anyway, I'm going to use this this thing over there. So the figure ground principle is a principle that is from Mark Etline's Living with Art book. It's a very recommendable book, by the way, if you want to know more about art in general. But he says the following: we perceive shapes by mentally detaching them from their surroundings and recognizing them as distinct and coherent. We refer to this relationship as figure and ground. A figure is a shape we detach and focus on. The ground is the surrounding visual information the figure stands out from the background. So basically, if you have a landscape or an architectural object, then obviously, for example, in the architectural photograph, the architectural object is going to be a figure. It's going to be the most important object in your photograph. So that's the part that we're going to focus on. So if you're going to make an edit of that architectural photograph, for example, then you make sure that the highest contrast and the brightest light is in or around that figure. Okay, and the rest, it can be sky, it can be foreground, it can be any other background. It's called ground. So that part is less important. Again, this is really annoying. Here we go. So for example, this photograph, to let you know and to show you what's important, so I have to move this a little bit to there. And hold on a minute, I'm playing with these controls now. And again, this is really okay. So if you look at this photograph, you see that in this case over here, that this is obviously the ground. This is also the ground, because I want to focus over here at this object. Okay, this is the most important object. So this is the most important thing in my photograph. So I call it the figure. So it's all focused on that part of the photograph. Everything else I can basically ignore. So what is important in terms of masking then is to be able to identify your figure, in this case, this building, and then this part with the red outline, that's going to be the critical mask, as you can see here, because that is the mask that will separate your figure from ground. So anything that you want to separate from, well, any mask that will separate ground from figure, that is called your critical mask. So that's the most important mask. The Quick Mask Pro panel, but also other software, are usually based on that principle. They try to find out what your figure is in your photo. And that can be done through contrast-based methods or through color-based methods. So basically any kind of software is either color-based or contrast-based or a mix of those two. So here, if you look here, with the indicated with the blue outline, that's the critical mass, and everything else inside of the figure are going to be derived mass, so they're less critical. So the thing is with landscapes, for example, with let's say a tree doesn't have all those edges because they're not man-made objects. So basically, when we talk about man-made objects, you always have different kind of planes, multiple planes inside of the figure. If you look at a tree, then basically the outline only, that is the critical mass, and you don't have any edges inside of the tree. So you don't have to worry about, let's say, those internal mass. This is only a problem if you are working with architectural or man-made objects, because you're always dealing with multiple planes. So you need to identify the multiple planes within the figure so you can make separate selections of those. So this part, that's actually really easy, because once you have your critical mass, the sky, you can easily derive the internal mass, the non-critical mass, from that critical mass. Okay. Is this clear to now? So I'm going to drink something.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Joel, you can try using your space bar to go forward. Make sure you're not hitting the up arrow instead of the right arrow.
Okay, because that's going to be a problem over here. Okay, I'm going to try that. So critical mass, internal mass. In landscapes, you only have to deal with critical mass. We don't have to deal with most of the time with the internal mass. The software, also QuickMass Pro and most software, will only handle the critical mass, not so much the internal mass. Because I've had a lot of people coming to me who had the QuickMass Pro and asked me, okay, can I also mask this part? Can I also mask that part? You can, but the intention of the panel is to come up with the critical mask first. And then you can always derive the internal mask also using the panel, for example. But better is it to just do it manually, because this is more time consuming, the outline of your figure, than creating a mask from the, let's say, the internal parts of that figure. I hope that makes sense.
Joel?
Yeah.
Colin said, get rid of the right menu by clicking on the small right arrow, if you want to do that. Or you can go full screen using Edit Preferences Full Screen.
We're talking about the presentation here, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, hold on a minute. What do I need to do? Because
Small right arrow.
small, this one. Okay. Yeah. Is this
Okay.
better for you guys?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay, hopefully I can now use the arrow keys. Let me see. No. it's crazy. Okay.
Still going backwards. Try spacebar.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, that is working better. Okay.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm going to have to put it there. So basically, three main masking methods: contrast-based, color-based, and the manual method. So here you see an overview of what I think is the best method. I think personally that the contrast-based method is always better. Okay. You can see that. Oh, hold on a minute. Okay. You see that the accuracy, for example, the contrast-based method, based on my own personal experience, is very high. Color-based method is less accurate, I think, because the thing is with, for example, with blue skies, you always have some colors bleeding over into the buildings or the trees or whatever you have there. Okay, so on average, I would say the color-based method is less accurate than the contrast-based method. The manual method is also very high, but you can only apply that technique to specific objects. Okay, we get to that later as well. Over here, recommended usage, everything providing that's reasonable contrast. So that's why it's important that you have to start masking the field already. So if you don't have a blue sky, for example, so you cannot use unique colors, make sure that if you take the photograph of, let's say, a tree or a building, that there's enough reasonable contrast that you can work with. Else nothing else is going to work. Okay, and if you don't have enough contrast in there, and you shoot a tree, for example, then you have to do the manual method. If you try to do the mask a tree with a pen tool, well, you're going to work for a quarter of a century, I think, because that's going to be really difficult. So that's why it's really important to start masking the field already. The most common method, okay, that's the traditional channel masking method. I think most of you already know what the channel masking method is because there are tons of tutorials on YouTube about the channel masking method. But what I'm going to use in this class is another color contrast-based method that is called the advanced masking technique. So everyone who has already has my advanced masking video or attended my class in June know what I'm talking about. It's a contrast-based method, but it's much more advanced. You can do so much more than the traditional channel masking method. So basically, the Quick Mask Pro panel is based on that advanced masking technique. Okay, but I couldn't automate the entire advanced masking workflow. Just import steps out of that advanced masking workflow, and I built it in the Quick Mask Pro panel, and I'll show you that later. So, oh my God! Every time I move my mouse, it's going to go to another slide. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, so this part, color-based method, I'm not going to use in this class. This I'm going to use, but just partially in combination with Quick Mask Pro. Next slide. So Quick Mask Pro is a contrast-based method. It's a partly automated method of my advanced masking method. So for those of you who don't know about my advanced masking method, it's I call it sectional masking and sectional multi-channel masking. Okay, it's basically a workflow where I don't use any color channels, but I create various luminosity masks, and then I pick out the right kind of luminosity mask to build the hard mask from. And then I'm going to combine them through sections. You won't see me doing that in this Quick Mask Pro webinar, but some parts of the advanced masking method I will try to incorporate also in this webinar. Okay, but I can highly recommend, if you don't know much about masking, to watch that video or buy that video, because the thing is, there's a lot of information in there that I'm not going into in this webinar because it's a 5-hour video, so it's too much information to just handle in this session. Okay. So some differences between traditional channel masking and the Quick Mask Pro and sectional multi-channel masking. So if you see this column, I also have to add the Quick Mask Pro to that. Okay. So source information in traditional channel masking method, or if you want also the calculation method, because you can also create masks with the calculation method. Then basically what they always do is using just one color channel. Or with the calculation method, you can combine different color channels, but they're still color channels. In my method, so the Quick Mask Pro method, but also in the manual method of that, I'm going to use all available luminance value channels. I'm not going to use any color channel. Okay. Target channel, usually with channel mask, is just a duplicated color channel. Over here, with my method and with the Quick Mask Pro method, there's going to be a new alpha channel or a duplicated luminance channel. MIM, mask and mask. For everyone who knows about my advanced masking method knows exactly what I'm talking about here, but I'm going to show you that in this webinar as well. Adjustment tools, the normal adjustment tools are always levels, dodge and burn. I never use that because there are better tools for that, and that's the brush with the normal and overlay, the gradients, the gradient tool, the alpha channel, and the mask and mask correction. I will show you that later. Pro and cons. Okay, so channel masking traditional method will not work with native black and white raw files as it's based on differences in luminance through color, right? With my method and with the Quick Mask Pro panel, you can work on any kind of native raw file, whether this is black and white or color, doesn't matter. So this is a quick overview. So the workflow behind the computer and visualization in the field. I invite you to just have a look at it, and I'm trying to give a short explanation about this. Okay, so what I'm showing here is the following. We're always talking about the critical mass, okay? We're not talking about derived mass, just the critical mass, the mass that will separate your figure from your ground. So if you look here, if you have, let's say, a geometrical man-made object, basically what you can do then, you still need to make sure you have good contrast, because then you can use a fully contrast-based method like the channel masking method, the traditional channel masking method, or my panel, or any other software that you have. Okay, and you can combine it with the pen tool. If you have reasonable contrast, you can still use this panel or most other software, even though I have to say that if you use Photoshop only without any other additional software, then this is already going to be a challenge. Okay, but this panel can, and my advanced masking method can handle this good contrast and reasonable contrast. If you have poor or varying contrast, I can still get away with it by doing some advanced tricks with my advanced masking method, or combining different channels from my Quick Mask Pro panel. If you have amorphous, not intricate landscapes, like let's say a mountain, okay, you can, well, of course, you still need to have good contrast or reasonable contrast, but still you can also get away with it if you have poor or varying contrast. It takes more time, okay, but you can still do something with it then. If you have amorphous and intricate objects like trees, branches, hair, feather, then you always need to have this good to reasonable contrast with my advanced masking method or with the Quick Mask Pro panel. But if you have poor varying contrast, then it's not going to work, okay? Because then well, basically you can only use the pen tool then, but that's already going to be a challenge. Try masking hair, feathers, trees, or branches with a pen tool. It's not, well, at some point it's going to work, but it'll take you some time and a lot of frustration. And the same, of course, for partly geometrical, partly amorphous, partly intricate. So let's say architecture with trees in the frame, then this applies. So you see already that when you're shooting out in the field, make sure you have some good or reasonable contrast. Make sure that your figure, if you look at the outline of the figure, will have at least reasonable contrast. So if one part, let's say, I'm going to go here. Let's say if you take this photo, okay, I'm going to create a layer over here. I'm going to adjust it in such a way that, let's say, this is going to be completely unrecognizable. Okay. I mean, well, I need to do my best because I'm only taking good photographs, but let's say something like this. You see that? You know that there's a mountain there, but it's very hard to see any contrast over there. So you're going to have a hard time coming up with a good mask for that part, right? So make sure that if you shoot something like this or something else, like a tree, that there's always enough contrast, reasonable contrast. And I think that this is reasonable contrast, at least for the way I work, the way I create masks with my panel or with my advanced masking method. This is reasonable contrast, okay? You can get away with this. I hope it makes sense, what I'm saying here. If not, then please let me know now. So now you have the chance to say something about it. Of course, it would be great if I had a blue sky as well, a very blue sky. So I can use both methods, a color-based method and a contrast-based method, in case I'm struggling with the contrast-based method only. Okay, so it's always a matter of already visualizing in the field what you need to do when you are in the digital darkroom. If you don't pay any attention there, well, you have to pay so much more time, and you have to, well, you're going to be frustrated quite a bit if you're in your digital darkroom trying to mask anything. So going back to my presentation, is this clear for you guys? So basically, it provides a sort of workflow in the field, but also in a digital darkroom, what you need to keep in mind, what you need to pay attention to. That contrast is very important, that color is also very important. But I always prefer good contrast. Okay.
So if anyone has a question on what we've learned so far, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Now's the time. No questions?
No questions?
Okay.
All right. Yeah. By the way, if you want to know more about this, about the theory behind those contrast-based method, color-based method, and all other masking related things, then I can recommend the masking video. So what I'm going to do now is to do some Photoshop preparations. I'll show you that through this slideshow as well. And then we're going to go into the Photoshop demonstrations. So for the best masking results, only use high-res TIFF or PSD raw files, okay? And before you do that, and before you go into the masking part, never forget to remove the chromatic aberration, so defringe. So if you have, for example, Lightroom, you will see this checkbox. Make sure it's ticked that you remove the chromatic aberration, because it will save you a lot of fringes, a lot of halos, a lot of inaccurate masks. Always do that. If you don't do that, then you will see that your mask is not going to be accurate enough. Okay, so this is part that you can do in Lightroom or any other raw converter like Capture One or what have you. Okay. So before I go into the Quick Mask Pro panel demonstration, I need to explain a few Photoshop masking essentials. I'm going to do that briefly. Again, people who already watched my video, advanced masking video, already know about this, but I need to explain this because we need to be on the same page, okay? Because not everyone has the advanced masking video. So I'm going to be talking about mask management, channels, mask selections, and paths. But okay, I'm not going to talk about the paths, but I'm only going to talk about the pen tool, okay? So let's go to Photoshop. All right, so let's go over here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to have a look at this photograph. First of all, there are two types of masks. There are layer masks, and most of you already know about that. So that is this thing that you see there if you are in the layers panel. By the way, before you set up Photoshop, make sure you always have your layers, your paths, and your channels together. Those are the three most important tabs, panels in Photoshop that you always need to use when you're editing and when you're masking. Layers, paths, panels, channels, okay? Very important. So if you go to your layers panel or a layers tab, you can create a new layer there. Okay, I want to get rid of this thing over there. Mike, do you know how you can get rid of the zoom thumbnails because it's in the way? Oh, it's already gone. So, okay, I don't need you anymore, Mike. So here you have the do layer, so you can basically create a mask. So that's called a layer mask, which is something completely different from a channel mask. So in this video or in this webinar, we're only going to be talking about channel mask. So whenever I refer to mask, I'm always referring to channel mask. So when I'm referring to a layer mask, I will always say layer mask. That's something different, okay? If you look here already, you know that white will reveal what's in this layer. And if you make this black, then it will reveal what's below that layer, right? Okay. So we're talking about channel mask here. This is an example of a channel mask. Okay, this is a hard mask. A hard mask is something like this. So it's either black or white. There are no values, no gray values in between. Okay, so basically black means it's going to be concealed and white means it's going to be revealed. And if you look here, you'll see that this is a hard mask. And it's a very accurate representation of that part of the bridge. Okay, so this is a hard mask. With this, you can isolate your figure. With this, you can isolate all your important objects. Okay, so it's all about isolating shapes in this case. Hard masks are there to isolate shapes, not light, but shapes, because you can isolate light through another way, and that's through luminosity mask. So I'll show you that later, but these are hard masks. Okay, more examples of that. So you see that I've done a lot of masking in this one. Okay, so this should be clear. So if I would load a mask like this, and I want to use it in editing. So this is a channel mask, okay? Then I'm going to go to layers. I can say now, okay, I'm going to load selection of that pylon. There it is. Okay, and now it becomes a selection. So usually channels, in this case, the channels that I'm using here, are either 8 bits or 16 bits. When I create a luminosity mask, they are 16 bits. But when you load them, they become 8-bit masks. Okay, always 8-bit masks, because that's hardwired in Photoshop. Whenever you load a selection, it will always become 8 bits, nothing more than that. But you can create your mask in 16 bits, even 32 bits if you want to, but I've never done that. Okay, but 60 bits is usually enough. Excuse me. So when I load that in this mask, I can mask parts in or out, right? So I'm not going to do that. But this is selection, this is a layer mask, and this is a channel mask. It's clear, hopefully, right? Channel masks, layer mask, selection. Selection is loaded mask. Let's deselect that selection. So here we're talking about hard mask. Now I'm going to create a few luminosity masks. I'm going to go here in the panel. So let me create a few. And a few darks, just to show you what I mean. So these are also masks, okay, but they are called luminosity masks, or I also like to call them soft masks. And the difference between a hard mask and a soft mask is that, for example, if you look here, this is very light, so this will reveal more than this darker gray part, right? And this part will not reveal anything. So the darker it gets, the less it will be revealed, okay? And the lighter it is, the more there will be revealed. But with all sorts of gradations in between. So with this, with the luminosity mask, you can isolate light. You don't isolate shapes, because you do that with the hard mask. And sometimes if you're lucky, you can also isolate shapes with your luminosity mask. But then the exact kind of light needs to exactly coincide with the object, okay? But that very rarely happens. So soft masks, you see here the light luminosity mask, meaning that here the lightest value will be isolated. So for example, you look at lights 2, then this is going to be revealed for quite a bit. And if you look here, then only this part will be revealed, okay? And if you go the other way, so with the dark luminosity mask, you see this same thing happening. So here, this is the shadow part in the photo. If you look here, you see that this is the darkest part. So the dark luminosity mask will isolate the darkest part. So if you look here again, dark luminosity mask, so the lightest part will reveal the most shadows, right? And the darkest part will conceal the light in this case. Makes sense, hopefully, yeah? And so the most important difference is the difference between isolating light with luminosity mask and isolating objects with the hard mask. And on top of that, of course, you have the gradations in between. To make sure that if you mask anything with the luminosity mask, it's going to do so in a very subtle and it's a very subtle way, so that it transitions nicely from the part that you're going to blend and the part that you're not going to blend, but in your layer. Is this clear about the channels? So these are channels, or actually alpha channels. Okay, so these are all alpha channels. And in this case, this alpha channel is a hard mask channel. And in this case, this alpha channel is a soft mask or luminosity mask channel. Okay, and the selection we can load by having a saved mask like that. Okay, so also there are also paths, so I'm not going to go into detail into that, but the thing is, if you use the pen tool instead of creating let's say a vector mask with a pen tool, you know, but you can and then save it as a selection, and then subsequently save it as a hard channel or a hard mask, it's better to save them as paths. Okay, I'll be talking more about that in my advanced masking video, because you save a lot of space if you save your paths as a real path instead of as a selection. So I'm not going to go into that anymore, but let's go into the next slide. So mask management, channels, mask selections, and paths and pan tool. Okay, the pan tool, sometimes I would 1 minute. For example, if I don't have enough contrast in my image, so I cannot use the traditional method, or I cannot use my Quick Mask Pro panel, or not even my advanced masking method, then the only thing that remains is to do it manually. And then you can, well, you can go in there with your pen tool, for example. Okay, this is not going to be a demonstration about a pen tool, okay, because there are many other great tutorials on the internet that you can find and that deals about a pen tool, but you can do something like this. I'm just going to do it quickly, okay. It's not going to be accurate, but it's just to make a point. All right, there we go. And then close that, then make selection. And again, I always recommend to save it as a path, but you can also save it as a selection or as a channel. So you do this, and you can then save it, selection, and call it, for example. Okay, and then you can find it back over here in your channels. Right, there it is. Makes sense, right? So this is a hard mask. Okay, so that's what I want to tell about mask management and channels and selections. So we're on the same page, hopefully. Is this clear up to now before I really go into Photoshop? So you have the chance to ask some questions. Anyone?
Well,
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Jorge, is that you?
Yes, this is Jorge.
Go ahead.
Hello, Joel.
Hello, Jorge. Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity, by the way. My question, Joel, is when you use the pen tool, what is the thickness that you recommend? And should the pen path be feathered or not? Thank you.
What I always do, for example, if you look at this, okay, so let me do another one. Okay, I'm going to do another one. Select, I'm going to take my pen tool. Okay, you can save this as a path as if you want to, okay. But let me take something else. Okay. Okay, let's just make a random shape over there. But usually, okay, if I make a selection and want to save it as a channel, make selection, I always do something like 0.1 pixels, but it's my own personal preference because I like to feather things. And usually when you create hard mesh, always make sure it's always feathered, okay? If you want to go with 1.1 pixels, that's okay. Sometimes I would go with something like 0.3, 0.4 pixels, depending on the type of object. For example, if you have more intricate objects like, let's say, leaves or branches or antennas or whatever you have, I would go with the standard feathering of that's a little bit higher, like maybe 0.3, 0.4. I don't like to go too high with the feathering because whenever you go past the 0.5 pixel point, then actually you're doing more than just feathering. You're actually optimizing the selection. More on that later on. Okay, is this a little bit clear? This is just personal preference, by the way.
Yes, Joe. But when you go into the settings for the pen, you can choose the thickness of the line, and I think it can be very, very thin, or it can go to 1, 2 pixels or something like that.
Okay, I don't know what my setting is, but this is my default setting. I always like to use this one, and I'm not sure where you can find that so easily. Do you know that? Over here?
Yeah, over there. Oh, you are using 1 pixel.
1 pixel, yeah.
All right, thank you, Joel.
Okay, welcome. Any more questions for now? No? Okay. So a quick walkthrough highlighting the Quick Mask Pro features, and then I'm going to do the demonstrations using the practice files that you all have received in the Dropbox folder. Okay. But first, one last word about the mask, critical mask, and the derived mask. Okay, because I just want to cover that as well. So, for example, here the figure is this entire Salk Institute together with the plaza, with the water over there. Okay, you might argue, okay, I'm not going to include the ocean there. I'm just going to select this. It all depends on you. Okay, but in this case, I've created this. Okay, I have created basically a selection of the entire Salk Institute. So this is the critical mask that separates figure from ground, because the sky and the ocean for me are the ground. Okay, and this is the figure. So how can I create selections like this, the separate walls that you see there? So they're called, again, they're called derived mass. So if you already have the critical mass, in this case, the sky or the foreground, so basically this is an inversion of this. If you already have the critical mass from either the foreground, sorry, for either the figure or the ground, then it's easy to create all those other mass. So I'll show you quickly how we can do that. So for example, if you have, let's take this wall, what I would do, for example, I would go in there with my pen tool. So let's zoom in a little bit. So here I know I already have that mask, right? So I can just go in there and then say, okay, I'm going to start there, and then I'm going to go down. Okay, just quickly, I'm not going to be too accurate. Okay, again, go in here. Okay, hold on a minute. I did something. There, and then I can go here, close circle. Okay, make selection like that. And now I can load selection again, and I'm going to use the sky. Okay, like that. I'm going to subtract it. So you see that now I have this accurate selection over there around the edge, the critical mask, and I also have a selection of this. And now I can save it. Okay, I can save it as, let's say, test. Okay, and then there you have it, right? That's easy. So that's why I'm saying that derived masks are always easier than the critical mask. And I think you've seen that, right? Because it takes more time to create this mask than to create this mask. I can do the same for the other one. Let's see, another wall. Let's do it quickly. Let's say, okay, I'm not going to spend too much time being too accurate there. So I'm just going to go in there, in there. Okay, just a quickie. All right. Make selection. And now I already have the sky, so I can just easily subtract it. And then I have a second selection there, which is quite fast. Also, the feathering, the optimization is less critical in the internal non-critical mass. The feathering and the optimization is more important, more critical around those critical mask edges. Makes sense, hopefully, right? So that's something that I wanted to cover. And again, this panel and most other software won't deal with the internal mask on average, okay? Because you can use it too. You can use my panel for the internal mask as well, but they're always, let's say, optimized for creating the critical mass. I think, for example, Skylum has now this kind of software with which you can replace skies very easily. And that is also based on a color-based method combined with a contrast-based method. They also claim that they do some artificial intelligence. I believe them, you know, they can still recognize objects, but only up to a specific point, right? Because the thing is, even if you can teach your software to recognize objects, if the contrast is not enough, then that software won't be able to see where the edge of that object is, right? So it's still always mainly contrast or color based, even though that some software can recognize objects. You always depending on enough contrast in the image to be able to see where the object starts and ends. Else it's no use to, well, it still makes use, it has some use to, let's say, have software that can identify objects, but you need to know exactly where the outline is. And for that, you need to always have enough contrast or enough colors. Is this making sense to you guys? Yeah. Okay, so now let's go into the panel. All right.
So it's 10 till. Did we want to take a break right now, or do you want to wait?
Let's do it some 10 minutes, and then after the break, we can do the actual demonstration, because now I'm just going to walk quickly through the panel, okay? Mike, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, so the Quick Mask Pro panel, again, a contrast-based method, and it's optimized to create critical mass. Never forget about that. And again, masking starts in the field. So if you don't have enough contrast, you cannot use this panel. But that applies to a lot of software. If you don't have enough contrast, most masking software aren't going to be useful. Okay, start in the field already. So here, these are just some quick access presets. They're just well, shortcuts to already existing Photoshop features. So these are not important. They are just there to make life a little bit easier for you. The same for those presets there. This is going to my website. This is going to show you my email. This is going to all the manuals, and this is going to the YouTube channel about Quick Mask Pro. So this video is also going to be posted on YouTube. So just click on there once the video is posted, and you will see that video. Okay, so these are not important. Same for that. Then I also have the following. Okay, let's start with the luminosity mask. Okay, those are just there to provide you with some additional features that you don't directly need in with this panel. Okay, you can use that. If you know how to use it, especially if you know about my advanced masking method, then they will become very useful, the luminosity mask. Other than that, you don't really need it directly, okay? There are some tools over there. Okay, so these are just also very, well, simple tools, just shortcuts to already existing tools in Photoshop. So with this, you can do this, okay? Just create rectangular selection. This is the brush tool, the circular tool. Well, going back, forward in history, and that's it. Very simple tools, you don't really need it, okay? So those tools, this luminosity mask are important, but you don't directly need it. And this, they are, well, just additional features. So first of all, what we need to do here, I'm just take another photograph. Let's take this. If you start using the panel and make sure that you already have enough reasonable contrast, okay, then we start always here with the base mask. Okay, what you need to do is to look at a photograph and just come up with a guesstimate of what its characteristic is. Is it low key? Is it low mid key? Is it mid high? Is it high key? This is something else, by the way, so we're going to ignore that for now. But usually you have to choose one of those tonal areas. In this case, I would choose most likely low mid. Okay, I'm going to show you that later on, but you have to do that. Okay, then you have to click that, for example, this. So it's just taking some time, okay, because it does a lot of things. For people who are familiar with my advanced masking method, what it's doing now is to create all sorts of luminosity masks, automatically selects the right kind of luminosity mask, combine them together, and then already adjust it in such a way that it looks something similar to almost finished hard mask. The better the contrast, the better the end result. Okay, in this case, I know that it's not going to be perfect, but you see here already that I already have this. Okay, so then you need to refine that using the quick refine mask. So here you have to fill white to fill black. If you know about the black and white Artisan Pro panel, it resembles this. If you go to Pro Tools, you see those adjustments. D4 is pure black, normal, and L4 is pure white, normal. It's the same as this. As this. So this is actually L4, and this is D4. Selective fill is the same as this in black and white Artisan Pro. Same as D1, D2, D3, D4. So, but this is more focused on not only on creating mass, but more focused also on editing photos. Okay, while this is purely focused on creating masks. So those presets, the similar presets on the Pro Tools, you can use on your channels, but also on your layers. But here you can only use it on your channels. So let's focus on this. So this is 100% white, 100% black. For example, if you want to do this, you can say, okay, I'm going to take my rectangular marquee tool, make it pure black, because that should be black, right? So if I want to, let's say, lighten this part over here, I can use the selective fill. So I can say something like this. I'm going to select it like that. Then I can use, let's say, super soft white, which is basically 20% white, something like that. This is 50%, 75, 100% white, but with an overlay mode. Okay, it's different. So it's not, you see that? Now it's already adjusted. So what it does basically in overlay mode is if you use the white, it will protect the pure black values in this part. So this is already pure black. So it's not going to affect that, but it will affect all the other values that are lighter than pure black. Okay. So that's what it does. This is something else. Okay, I'm going to show you that with another. I need to have my other file. Going to open this. So I'm going to go into a lot of detail later after the break, but just a rough overview for now. Okay, so here I have my grayscale grid. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this. So you see here that this is pure black and it's in zone 0. So this part from here to there is zone 0, containing 23 different luminance value from, so 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, up to 23, 23, 23, still in zone 0. The same for zone 1, starts there and somewhere around there. And then you have to zone 10 over there. This is pure white, 255, and this is 0. Okay, so what, okay, I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, so for example, if I do this, select everything. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to make a copy of that first. So if I'm going to select all of this, I click on fill white. Obviously, it makes it completely white, right? Same for fill black. Okay. If I do this, strong white, 100% overlay white, it will affect all the lighter tones, then 0, 0, 0 over here. So this will not be affected at all. Everything else will become white at some point. So if I press it long enough, you will see that. You see that? That will always be black because the overlay mode will never affect pure black. Okay, so to get rid of this, now create a new layer. I do the same for this strong black. Then it will not affect the pure white over there, but everything else will be affected. And this, of course, is a great characteristic, a great feature if you want to mask things. So that's why I always prefer to use overlay modes, and that's already built in here. Sometimes I would use the brush in overlay mode to mask things out. It works much better than just using the levels or dodge or burn tool. You see that? This will never change. This is pure white, will be protected, which is a great thing for masking. Okay, so that's what I want to show you. Okay, I'm going to go back now, and then I'm going to show you the following now. So I'm going to create a new layer again. So this part. So the thing is with, if you are going to use the Quick Mask Pro panel, at some point, if you want to have a hard mask, then the black needs to be pure black and the white needs to be pure white. But it's not always easy to see that, right? I mean, sometimes it's you have something like this. That's tonal value 4, I guess. So 4, 4, 4. It's hard to see that it's not pure black, right? I mean, if you can see it from here, well, then good for you. But I cannot see it. Okay, I can see that this is lighter, but not so much that this is also lighter than that. So instead of trying to adjust even more with those features over there, it's better to use this then. Okay, so for example, if I have something like this. Okay, I'm going to use medium black. Okay, let's stop here. Okay, I'm going to deselect selection. So over here, you see that is, if you look here, the RGB values, you see that this is 4, so it's not pure black. This is 1, it's also not pure black. And this is 0, this is pure black. So anything lower than this line, let's say lower than roughly this line, I guess, is still not pure black, right? It's hard to see the difference, but if you are masking things, you need to make sure that this is pure black and the rest is pure white, okay? So instead of, let's say, let's just focus on this part. I'm just going to make selection like this, okay? So this is around 2, this is around 5, this is around 22. Okay, so the thing is, instead of using those features and then increasing the chance of degrading the edges of the mask, okay, people who have followed my advanced masking workflow know that the more you adjust, the more the edges of the selection will degrade, right? So instead of using that, it's better to use this, okay? Because the thing is, if you're almost near pure black, so meaning near 0, 0, 0, and you have something that's in the range of, in let's say from 1 to 8, then it's better to use this, because this will make pure black what's in the range of 1 to 8, roughly. If you're above that, so anything in the range from 8 to, off the top of my head, 18, okay, still in zone 0, you have to use this. So let me show you that. So this, again, this is 22, so this will not be affected if I click on black soft, right? All right, so now I click on that. Now this is 0, you see that? Because this was around 2, this was around 4, so that is all in the range of black soft. So it's better to, let's say, finalize your mask if you're not sure if it still needs some adjustment, because it's really hard to see, to just click on that preset. And if you want to cover a larger range, for example, here, it's, I think over there is 14. Okay, so that's not covered by black soft. So this part is not covered by black soft. So if I click on black strong, you will see that now it's 0, right? So this, sorry, this covers anything between 1 and 8. This 8 to 18. The same for white. Okay, so here, this part, I think it's this will cover anything between 254 and, off the top of my head, 247, something like that, and a white strong will cover anything between 247 to 40 roughly. Okay, so here what we have is 190, so that's not going to cover it. 239. I think this will be lightened, okay, by white strong. Okay, and I need to make it lighter first because else it's not going to be covered, something like that. Okay, here we have 255, so that should be covered by white soft. Okay, see, now it's 255. See that? This is 251 will also be covered after now. 243, I think, won't be covered by that, but maybe will be covered by white strong, not sure. Okay, now it's 255. So roughly, white soft will cover anything between 254 and 247, and white strong anything between 247 and 240, roughly speaking. Okay, so that's to finalize your mask when you're not sure if you already have made it pure black or pure white, and you just want to be sure. Just take a few samples like this, just go over it, look at the RGB values over there, and if it's in any of those ranges, use black soft, black strong, or white soft, white strong to completely finalize it. If you cannot cover it with those presets, it means that your mask is not finished yet. Okay, then you have to use those adjustments. Making sense? Okay. Okay, now this is basically, for people who know my advanced masking workflow, you know that you can create a full mask, an entire mask, by creating sections, right? Well, basically this replaces that part partially, okay? I will show you that all after the break. So for now, it's better to have a break. But please, if you have some if you want to ask some questions right now, please do so. Anyone before we go into the break? I don't hear anything. Am I still on air or not?
You are.
Okay.
There are no questions.
No questions? Okay. Mike, Martijn, do you hear me? Let's
Yeah.
take a break for now.
Yeah, 10-minute break.
Let's reconvene at 15 minutes past the hour. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
9-minute break.
9-minute break. Okay, yeah. See you later. Okay, so we're missing out on a part of the recording. Hopefully it's not too much. Okay, so I'm going to use the refine mask over here. Let me check if the recording is still going. I completely forgot about that. So people on YouTube are going to miss that part. Okay, that's too bad. So let me try strong white first. Okay, that's too much. Okay, so I'm going to go with subtle white. Maybe that's going to help better. You see that? I'm going to reveal some of the grass there, but this is also getting lighter. Okay. And by the way, I forgot to do this. Hold on a minute. I forgot to save this temporary selection. I need to do that. So I'm going to do that first. So save selection. Call it T1. Doesn't matter what you call it. Okay. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to zoom in. Subtle white or super subtle white. Let me try this then. Okay, I think this is much better. I hope you see that the grass is going to be revealed again. Okay, so I'm going to use that one more time, the T1 selection, and going to do it again. It's already getting better. But of course, this is also getting lighter, so I'm going to load it again, T1. Okay, now I'm going to create and make it subtle black. Okay, maybe strong black will do. Okay, let me see. This is 4, so I can fix that with the super soft. But you see now the grass is now being revealed, right? If you go before and after, so this is before, and this is after. So basically, this is the same as sectional masking in the manual method, but it makes life so much easier because you don't need to know anything about those luminosity masks. You don't need to come up with the right assessment and the right selection of those luminosity masks. You just click on those buttons. Okay, you always have to try out, okay, which one will work for you, and then just click on that, and you can always go back one step. So I've done that part. I still need to make it pure black, but I'm going to do that later. So let me go here now. I also want to do that part. So again, here, it's looking like that. Doesn't look too good, the grass. I'm going to do another attempt for that part. So I'm going to start over here. Just select it up to there. And I think it's the same kind of tonal range as the right-hand side of the image. I'm going to do the same there. Let's start with subtle white or super subtle. Okay, I'm going to load it. Okay, I forgot to save that selection. So go back one step, save selection, call it T2. Okay, now I'm going to do that super subtle white. Let me see if that's already looking better. This is before and after. Maybe I need to use subtle white instead of super subtle. T2. Let me do that. Yeah, it looks better, but it's also getting lighter there. But I hope you see that this before and after, it's looking much better. I'm going to do it again, but now it's super subtle. Okay, super subtle. Okay. Load it again. Now I'm going to make it black again. T2. I think it's subtle black. Yeah, once again. Let me try strong black. That might be too much, I think. Actually, not too bad. You see here that it's now in the range that I can easily adjust it with the quick refine with this black soft, right? Okay, and this is, let me see, this before, this is after. You see that it's already quite an improvement, right? So let me have a closer look at the rest. Okay, I need to, this is a little bit gray there, so I can just take my brush. I would always do that, or just take your marquee tool and just go over it. But I would prefer to go with my brush. Make sure it's set to overlay, 100% set to white, and then just go over it quickly. And then you should be done. Okay, this is good. Now I want to fix this part, make it pure black. So let's see. Here you see that's a little bit too light. Okay, so load selection, and I'm going to load the T1. Now I'm going to click on black soft because that will cover the range between 1 and 8 roughly, and that wasn't around 4 or 5. So if I go in here now, you will see that it should be pure black. See that? If you look at the RGB values on the upper right corner, you see that's all 0. And again, I'm going to zoom in to show you that it didn't degrade the grass too much. So before the adjustment and after. You see that? It's still there, the grass. Okay. The same for the left side, left-hand side. So I'm going to load T2. And let's see if I'm in the same kind of range. Just a quick sample for, sorry, 4, 2. Okay, anything below 8, so I can click on black soft. Okay, you didn't see much of a change there after clicking black soft, right? So that's how you create the mask for the tree in a very quick way. Okay, now make sure that you get rid of all those redundant masks. You just click on delete, and you can also delete those manually, just throw them away. And there you have the tree. Okay, but I'm not done yet because I still need to do some optimization. Okay, because the thing is, if you zoom in, you see that it's a little bit jagged. So I want to fix that. So what I do is just stand on here. Now load selection, just load that tree selection. Okay. And now you go to selected mask. By the way, you can also click here. Okay. With this, you will do the optimization automatically. This is default. So for the default photo, okay. If you think that the optimization is too much, then go with less or else with more. Okay, I'll explain that in a few minutes, but first let me do it manually. So here, I've already selected it. So now click on select and mask. And now you see that what I always do is to set this opacity close to 90. Okay, so I can still see the object and its background, but I can also see the let's say the inaccuracies over there. You see that this will result in a lot of fringing, right? But the thing is, this is a very intricate object. So the thing is, it's almost never going to be possible to come up with the 100% accurate mask for something as intricate as this. Okay, so you can only try to optimize it in such a way that you will reduce the fringing, the halos. It also depends very much on the kind of adjustments that you are going to do in Photoshop. So if you're going to push the contrast quite a bit with the photo, so meaning in this case, I would make the sky completely black and I would make the trees completely light against white, then obviously if you push the contrast that much, you will end up with a lot of fringing, okay? But so in that case, no optimization will help against that, okay? So, but here I'm just going to go with the normal adjustments. So here you can go with feathering. I would always suggest something between, for optimization, for anything between 0.6 and 1.5. So let me go with 1.3. Let me go with 1.3, okay? But that's not enough. You also need to shift the edge, okay? Whether it is going to be a negative shift or positive shift, you have to, it all depends very much on the object. So in this case, you can see that I'm going to need a negative shift. You see that the fringing will already be gone. And usually the shifting the edge should always be around, let's say, anything between 20, minus 20 or plus 20, and let's say minus 40 or plus 40, something around that line, okay? So I'm going to go with a little bit more, with 42, and you see that it's looking so much better already, right? Okay, here I have more fringing. Okay, I can also correct that, but I'm just looking at the branches first, okay? You see that it's much less. So here, 1.3 minus 42. Click OK. And now you save it. Save selection and call it tree optimize. So it will be saved as a channel. So it's going to end up there. So I'm going to deselect selection. And here you see the difference between the tree before and the tree after optimization. And this is even more intricate. I hope you agree with me on that. If you look here, let's just take a look at this section over there. This before, it's quite decent, but actually this is much better. Especially for a very intricate object like that, it's better to come with enough optimization. If you are working on an architectural object, you don't need that much kind of optimization. And there is where this part comes in, because that will do it automatically. But it assumes, let's say, less intricate objects. So let me try it with that. So I'm going to, let's say, go with default. Okay, I'm going to load the tree. Okay, and I'm going to save it. So it's the optimization already took place. Once you click this, it will be optimized automatically. So now save selection, call it tree test. Okay. Okay, this is the new one. This is the before. This is after, with the default optimization over there. But this is the manual optimization. See, I think this is much better for an object like this. Do you guys agree with me on that? If you prefer this one, for architecture, I would prefer this kind of optimization. It's much less, and it will work in most cases, especially if your selection is covering the sky. In this case, it's a tree, but this especially works quite well if you want to optimize a selection of the sky or the ground. Is that clear? So I'm taking a few questions for now. So if you have any questions till now, please go ahead. No? I don't hear any questions, so I'm going to continue.
Joel,
Yes?
there is one person that asked, do they need, which one do they need to learn first, the advanced masking or the quick mask, or can you use both? What's the relation between the two?
Well, the thing is, like I said in the beginning, Quick Mask Pro Panel is a partially automated version of the advanced masking method. Okay, so the thing is, you can do without the advanced masking video, absolutely. But there's a lot of background information that is not visible, it's not clear if you just look at a panel, right? If you know that part as well, and you combine those two together, I think you can mask anything. Okay, then you know so much more, it makes so much more sense, but it is not needed to have the video, the advanced masking video, to be able to work with this. But it makes a lot of more sense. It makes everything so much easier if you also know about that. I hope this answers your question.
I
Hey,
think
Joe,
that
I
makes
got a
it much
question on
clearer.
top of that one. Does it help to have the zone, you have that zone matrix that's numbered out? Is that something that's available to us, or is that just your own personal
Oh,
guide? It seems like that would help.
I think it's somewhere on the, if you have the black and white Artisan Pro X panel, you click on one of those. Let me see, if you go here, if you have this, and you click on the cloud button over there. Okay, so you will be redirected to the Dropbox folder, to the showcase folder. I think it's over there. I'm not sure. Let me
It's
see.
also on Joel's website as well.
It's also on my website, so you can easily download it. I don't think it's in here, or is it in here? No, it's not in here, but I think it's on my website, Al. So if you look at my website, you might find the Grayscale grid. And else, I'm going to add it to this Dropbox folder. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe that's easier. Okay. Any other questions? No. Then I'm going to continue with the next photograph. So what I'm going to do right now is to go to, okay, let's go with this photo. I'm already here. So this is a landscape photograph. Okay, so the thing that I want to say about this is the following. If you look at the photo, at the mask, and the mask that you want to create, you will see that this part over there in the landscape is quite fuzzy, it's quite soft. So here, I don't think I would want to have a hard mask, but something between a hard mask and a soft mask. The same also for this part over there. So the mask should eventually represent the softness of the clouds over there. And also, well, here it needs to be hard. And here again, if I look here, it needs to be a little bit softer. And also on that side, it needs to be softer there, right? That's the kind of mask that I would like to have if I would mask this photo. Okay, so the guys who have seen my, the ladies and gentlemen, by the way, who have seen my advanced masking video or attended my class, know that you can easily fix that by splitting up the image in 3 or 4 different sections, assigning different luminosity masks to that, and then come up with that kind of result. Okay, since we don't have this kind of, not everyone has this kind of knowledge, I'm only going to use the panel for that. Okay, so I think I can come close to what you can do manually with this panel. So here, again, this is going to be my figure, the entire foreground with the mountains, and the background is going to be the sky is going to be my ground. So I only want to have a mask that will cover this outline over here, over here, over there, and then complete it like that. Something like that. I don't need the lakes, rivers. I'm not sure if there are lakes or rivers. And is anyone familiar with this area over here? Because I'm not sure if that's a lake or a river, but anyway.
Yeah, lakes, Joe.
Lakes, right? Okay, lakes. Okay, thank you. So first of all, what you need to do is to see, okay, what kind of tonal range is it? Anyone want to guess? What would you choose? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to give you the answer. If you look here, I think I'm going to go with a low mid, right? Something like that. It's not really mid high. It's not really high key, but something low mid over here. Here, you know that this comes closer to low key, and here as well, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let me start with the low mid. And if I don't have the right kind of mask, then I can always go to another adjacent zone. Okay, excuse me for a second. I'm going to grab myself a drink for 1 minute. Okay, so I've created the base masks. As you can see here, I have low mid 3, low mid 2, low mid 1. Okay, this looks quite good. This doesn't look good. So I can choose to say, you know what, I'm going to try mid high, see what that results in. Okay, takes a few seconds to do all the calculations in the background. So this is even worse. Okay, so I'm not going to use that. So I'm going to get rid of that. Maybe I'm going to use the other adjacent zone. That's the low key. So let me try that. And else I'm going to go with the low mid. So hopefully for people who know about my advanced masking workflow, they see that instead of choosing the right luminosity mask, I'm just clicking one of those presets and see what gives you the best result. Okay. But if you know about my advanced masking workflow, you know that you can also, let's say, make one mask out of all those masks. So here you see that this part, if you look at the low key base mask, it's actually looking very good over there, right? Over here as well. Not so much over there. It's too dark there. I think that this part here is better covered with low mid. I think with low mid, let me see, not 1, not 2, but I think 3. I'm mostly looking at this midsection, okay? Because I want to do this part and that part with low key. Okay. Well, you don't need to know anything about sectional masking, but I'm going to show you how you can combine those two together. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of those because I don't need those. I'm going to use low mid as my base mask. And I think I'm going to use low mid 1, 2, or 3. I think based on what I see here on the midsection, because I'm going to cover this part with the advanced refined mask set to low key, and this part too, I'm going to go with this. I think. No, I think this might be even better. 2 or 3. Okay, I'm going to have a closer look now. I think I'm going to go with 3. Okay, I'm going to go with 3. So I'm going to get rid of those. Okay, let me rename it and call it number 1. Okay. And by the way, if you, I've heard some people talking about inverted mask, whether they click on one of those base masks or the luminosity mask. And the reason for that is the following. If you see that, if you have something that results in something completely different, then the problem is mostly here. Okay, so you go to your channels, go click on those stripes over there, then go to channel options, and then your mask should be here. Okay, it should be masked areas, not selected areas. If you have the inverted result, it means you have selected this. Okay, so make sure that you set it to masked areas to make sure you have the right kind of base mask and the right kind of luminosity mask. I don't know why that happens, that in some people's cases they have inverted mask, but it's a very known problem, because I know that Tony Kuiper's panel, the TK panels, are also suffering from that wrong settings. Not so much because of the panel, but it's because there are some personal settings that are wrong. And if you cannot fix it like this, then there's a big chance that your preferences file in Photoshop are corrupted. Okay, so if you cannot fix it like this, it means your preferences files are corrupted. Then the best thing to do is to just install Photoshop from scratch. That's the only thing that I can recommend, but this should help if you have inverted mask. So I'm going to go with 1, okay? Let's see what I can do already. So what I'm going to do now is to already do this, because I can already make this completely black because it's far away from the edge. So you only have to look at the edge. I can even go a little bit more down like this. Okay. And here I want to have a nice transition. So I'm not going to include that. So here, going to just click on quick refine fill black. So I've already done that. Then I can also already fix this part over here. The lakes, I'm going to make it completely white. Going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to do this here. And this I want to leave as it is, okay, because it needs to have that kind of transition. So click on fill white. All right. So now the rest I'm going to try to darken. Let me see how I can do that the best way. I'm going to just select it like this up to here. And now I'm going to use the quick refine, select the fill. I'm going to go with medium. Let me try strong black first. Okay, that should do it. Let me try if this is not better. Medium black, it's not enough. So I'm going to go with strong black. Okay, so I think if I zoom in now, yeah, okay, this looks, I think this here is too much there. So maybe I can do it like this, medium black. I think this is better. Okay, I need to do some more refinements there, but that's okay because it's outside of the edge. So what I'm going to do now is to do this here. I'm going to darken that a little bit more without affecting the rest there. So I'm going to subtract it with the marquee tool. You see that? If I took the marquee tool and took this this option, subtract, now I can subtract that. So I'm going to focus here only. So now click on medium black. Now it should be done there. And this I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to take my marquee tool again. You can also take your lasso tool, by the way, but I prefer to use the marquee tool. Okay, so I'm going to click here, select that part, and then do medium black. So I'm doing that so I won't affect this part anymore. Okay, so I've done that. So I've fixed that part. And now I want to have this part too and that part too. So how can I do that? I'm going to use the advanced refine. Okay. And like I said, this photo, the base mask was on low mid. Okay. And if you look here, this part, it looks to be more low key, right? This part's more low key and that part is also more low key. So I think it would make sense to use low key for that. So I'm going to go in here. So basically this replaces the sections. Okay, so instead of creating a luminosity mask yourself with the advanced masking method and then create a section and then load it into that section and then adjust it, you can also do it with this advanced refine mask feature. Okay, go in there, set it to low key, create the temporary files again that you have to get rid of again after you're done. So just don't pay any attention to that. They're just temporary files that are needed to do all those adjustments. So let's have a look here. Let's start with the left-hand side for now. I'm going to use this. Okay, I need to have a little bit of overlap, not too much. So I'm going to subtract it here. Okay, maybe even more. Okay, like that. I'm going to save that, save selection, call it T1. Okay, and now I'm going to guess. I think that for this part, I need, let me try subtle black first. Okay, it can be stronger. I'm going to go back one step because I like to use as few passes as possible because the more passes you need, the more you're going to degrade the edge. Let me try super strong black now. That's too much. I think I would be good with strong black. Something like that. Right? I think I'm liking it. Okay, maybe not too much. I'm going to go with this maybe. Maybe this is better. Okay, hold on a minute. I have to load the selection again. I'm going to use a little bit of that. And once again. So in many cases, it's just a matter of trying out one of those presets to see what the result is, and then just go back one step if you don't like it. And I'm going to stick with those two presets over there. Okay, I think, okay, this is something that I will fix later on, but at least I have the outline there, and I'm going to add a little bit more once again. So a little bit more subtle black like that. This is looking much better. Maybe once again. Solid black. Okay, this I can fix. I will show you that later. So now I have that outline. Now I'm going to go to the right, do the same. So grab your marquee tool again. Try to make that selection over there. Okay, it's just a little bit of overlap. So I'm going to grab my marquee tool again, set it to subtract over there, and then just going to subtract the part that I already covered, that part. Okay, I'm going to do the same with super subtle, I think. This can be, I forgot to save it. All right, let's save it first. That selection, call it T2. Okay, now I'm doing it over again. Let's start with subtle black this time. Okay, load T2 again. Yeah. Subtle. Let me try strong now. No, not too bad. I think I'm liking that. So this is a better representation of this area over there, right? Maybe just a little bit more. So I'm going to go back, stand on my base mask, load selection T2 again. All right, and now do a subtle black. All right, like this. Okay, so now
Joel?
I need, yeah?
So for everyone, this was supposed to be over in 2 minutes, but we are obviously going to run over. So don't go anywhere because we are going to run over.
Do you guys have any problems with that? I'm not good at time management, you know, I tend to explain too much. I hope you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to fix this now. So the way that you can do that, by the way, I have to get rid of those temporary files first. Okay, so go click on that, delete low key. I can also delete that because I don't need it anymore, like this. So now I have this. So how can you fix this the best way? I would say that the best way is to just load the mask itself in the mask. So this is the mask and mask method, okay? And again, people familiar with my advanced masking workflow will know everything about that. So I'm going to load it there. So I'm going to load one while I'm standing on one. And now I'm going to go here and try out the medium white. Okay. Again, see that? It's almost fixed. Now I think I have a very decent mask. Okay, I need to fix this here. So the best way to do that, instead of using all the tricks that I've shown you, you just grab your brush, set it to white, set it to overlay, set it to 1%, and try to go over it with just one quick pass. Okay, I'm not releasing, oh, I did release the mouse there. So once again, one pass. Okay, and here I can do it again. Okay, I did a little bit too much there. Go back one step. Here, I need to fix that. You see here, I was not being accurate. Okay, so forgive me for that. I can still fix that, but I'm not going to do that for now. It's just to show you the principle, right? So here, it's fixed there. I can also make this lighter if I want to, if I think that the transition and the it's not representative enough for what's actually happening in the photo, because you see that it needs to be a little bit fuzzy, right, and soft. So I'm going to go over it with just one pass, like that. Here, I'm just going to have a look. So it's, I think it needs at least one pass. Like that, like that. To represent the clouds over there. It can be even better, okay? But I don't want to spend too much time on this photo anymore. But you see here that I can come up with a very decent mask that I still need to refine just by using the Quick Mask Pro panel. Okay, I need to fix this here. All right, one pass. Do you guys agree this is a very decent quick mask? Of course, you still need to do select and masking. So this load selection, number 1. Okay, and now select and mask. Okay, go in here, roughly 1. Well, I think in this case I'm going to go with 1.1. Shifting edge. Okay, I'm going to have a look. Okay, hold on a minute. It's better to do it like this by standing here. Okay, and now do the select and mask so you can see it better. Okay, I'm going to go with 1.8. My mouse is very sensitive. I'm struggling with the mouse. So it's something like that. Okay, then shifting edge. Let's try the minus. Or let's try the plus. You see, I have to have a minus. Something between -15 and -40. I would recommend it. Okay, then you can click OK, then save it, and I call it ground optimized. Let's have a look. This is after, before. Let's have a look here. Okay, ignore this part. But this is looking great, I think. Right? To represent that, the clouds and the mountains. This before. And you can also do it with this, of course, with the load optimized mask. So let me try that. So I'm going to click on this default load number 1. It's automatically optimized like this. Now I'm going to save it. Call it ground number 2. That is optimized. Deselect. Okay, so this and that. You see that that works much better for architecture. You see that it's doing something too much. It's better to do it manually. Is this clear? Anyone questions for now? Because I'm going to go ahead with the next demo, and I want to do. I think I'm going to do one more if you guys don't mind about that.
Shelley has a question. What overlay are you using in select and mask to show edges?
Okay, let me see what. Okay, I'm going to load that. Okay, and I'm going to go select and mask. So what exactly do you mean? The overlay mode, this part, or what do you mean?
Shelley, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question, please.
Yes, I see you're not using the red color.
You mean in select and mask mode, Shelley?
Yes, the view mode.
Oh, for me, it's set to, what is it actually? I set it to on black over here. I prefer this one always.
Okay.
So it's set to on black, then make sure the opacity is something around 90 so you can still see parts of the background, okay? Make sure that you're not standing on the channel, but that you're standing on your layer or your RGB channel, because else you cannot see it. And that's it, okay?
Okay.
Oh yeah, by the way, don't forget to set the output to selection then. Okay?
Okay.
Any more questions?
So Alan Cook says, I find this both inspiring and depressing at the same time. I think that many of us feel that way because when you first see it, it's very detailed. I think repetition is the key. You know, this video will be posted. Go over it again and again slowly. And then once you get it, you'll have the best masking of anybody.
Well, I would never say the best. Okay, I would always say the most sensible masking. Okay, because the thing is, you have to take into account so many variables, so many factors. You know, I mean, like I said, you have to start masking in the field, and no one else is telling you that, and I'm telling you that, and I cannot emphasize it now. Start masking in the field. Make sure you have enough contrast. Make sure you have the right kind of colors. Always think of that, because the thing is, it will save you a lot of time and frustration once you're in a digital darkroom. Okay, that's a very important aspect. Any more questions for now? Okay, let me go to the next photo. I think I actually wanted to do another photo, but I think time-wise, it's better to just do one more photo. That's the bird. Okay, what do you guys think of that? The bird or the architectural photograph? The bird is faster than the architectural photograph. Any preferences?
Yeah, the architect.
Architecture test of the panel.
Let's do the architect.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to do the architectural photo. Maybe I do a quick round with the bird. Okay, but let me do this first. This is a very quick one. So there's also the possibility of a low-key studio. Okay, what is this? Okay, I have this is strange. Did I send you guys this photo or another photo? I'm not sure anymore. What?
Yeah, we got that photo.
That photo. Okay, I have to pick the right one then without the strange spots. So just a very quick one with this. So this one, the LK Studio is ideal for anything with a dark background, something like this. Okay, then you can use this LK Studio. Okay, click on that, and then you have something like this that you can easily correct after that. Okay, there's no possibility of advanced refine masking for that, because this is you can only do it like this. So if you have something with a very dark background, then try using LK Studio. Okay, Low Key Studio, because this, okay, you can come up with something like this and say, all right, I need to have some quick refine with medium white, and then just click on it, and I think you're almost done then. But this looks quite good. Okay, so anything that's shot in a studio with a very dark background, try LK Studio. Okay, now go to the architecture. I think most people wanted to see the architecture photograph, and hopefully I do a quick one with the bird. So architecture. Okay, I'm going to grab a quick drink. All right. So in this case, if you look at a photograph, of course, this is obviously the figure. This is going to be the ground. So this is going to be the critical mass. This part is going to be the critical mask. Okay. Figure, ground. And if I look at it, then I would say this part over there would be close to low mid. This part over here. But I think this part there is something completely different. I would say this is high key because it's a little bit fuzzy over here, a little bit soft. The contrast much lower. It's more towards high key. So with the advanced masking method, you would create sections of that, and then choose the right kind of luminosity mask, assign it to that section. But I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to do it with the panel only. So I'm starting with base mask. So like I said, I'm going to start with low mid. It's doing a lot of things in the background, by the way. Okay, so low mid. Let me evaluate all those masks starting from the bottom. Okay, low mid 3. I'm going to lose a lot of stuff in there. And this is going to be it's really dark. But again, I already have in mind to do this with another zone through the advanced refine mask feature. Okay, so I'm not going to worry too much about this part. Just going to look here. Low mid 2. I think it's looking much better already. Okay. Low mid 1. I think it's too much black in there. Even though I think this is better there. So I think I'm going to go with, well, I think with low mid 1 you can do a lot of good to the sky, but you have to correct more. So I'm going to go with low mid 2. I'm going to get rid of those. Okay. You might also try the low key. Okay. And for that, maybe that will work, but I don't think so. But it's a good way to already create them so you can see what might work when you're doing the advanced refine. You see here, this part's actually very well covered by the low key, right? Okay, so that looks good. So, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just looking at this part, and I'm going to correct this part with the advanced refine, and maybe I can also correct that part with the low key. Depends a little bit on the time that I have, but I'm going to start with the low mid 2. So let's call it building. Oh, without the N, forgive me for that. Bill Dick. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to start with this. All right, just select it with the marquee tool, the lasso tool, whatever you prefer. Quick refine. I think I can go with a medium, well, even maybe with a strong black. Well, medium black, strong. Okay, just look at the edges. You only need that. Okay, and don't need to worry about that part because I can easily manually correct that part. Now I'm going to grab my marquee tool again. I have to fix this because I want to make sure that I've covered the edges. So this can already go there. I'm going to go with a medium and a strong. Okay, that should cover those edges. Okay, I'm going to fix this part here. Already make it pure black, so just fill black. Okay, that too. And now for this part, I'm just going to use something else because I'm going to go over the edge there. So then you have to use selective fill. I'm going to use medium black. I think it's not done yet. Once again, medium black, that should do it. Here, I need to fix that too. Okay, so I'm going to try and doing that first. Let me see, this should cover it, medium black. Okay, now I need to fix this. Okay, but let me do this first. Okay, here, okay, a little bit lower. Just grab the marquee to click on fill wide because way beyond the edge, right? I mean, way within the edge. So I can easily do that. This is black there. Well, that should be white. You see that? I'm going to fix that later, but I'm already going to fix what I can fix right now. So this, okay, can fix just with fill white. All right. This is going to be fixed later on. This part over here, I'm going to fix. Let me see. I'm going to do it like this. What I'm going to do is to load the mask in itself. So while standing on that mask, load selection, load the mask itself. Okay. Now click on, I think, strong white. Okay. A little bit more. All right. So you see there's some black left because it's pure black and it cannot be fixed with this. So I have to do that manually. But this part here, okay, is also light. Okay, I'm going to fix that. You can do that with this, okay? But in those cases, you know, I know that I can easily do that with the brush. So just click the brush, set it to black, overlay 100%, just go over it with one go, just like this. See that? Over here as well. Okay, I think that should be okay. Now go switch to white again, fix this, just go with one pass, not too many passes. And here I need to fix that in another way because this is pure black, cannot be corrected with the overlay. So I have to set it to normal. So you see, it's a little bit more work, okay? A little bit more work. Okay, but I'm just going to do that. And over here. I'm just going to fix that. Okay, this is more problematic, so I need to be a little bit more careful. But you see that I have all the details in there, right? Okay, and this I need to fix also. Okay, I'm not going to do that because it takes too much time. I want to show you how I would do this. Okay. By the way, if you look here, okay, hold on a minute. I forgot something. Oops, something there. Look here. I always like to show this part. Look at the crane. You see that? It's looking quite good, right? I mean, for I think you can get even better results if you do this manually. But you see, you can still see the cables there. I need to refine it, but it's already looking quite good. So here, this is more bordering against mid-high or high key. So instead of doing the sectional thing that I would do in the manual workflow, I'm going to go in here, refine mask, because I know that that's more bordering against high key. So I'm going to set this to high key. So basically, if you use the advanced refine, you're actually saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to add a new section that will cover different kind of tonal zone. So if you think in terms of splitting it up, the image in sections, each section assigned to a specific zone, then this does the same, okay? It does it automatically. So here I'm going to create high key. So I'm going to create a temporary files to correct that part. So now I'm going to go in here. So don't worry about that, just ignore that. But don't forget to go back to your original base mesh. Don't stand on this because the thing is, once you, okay, I will show you that. So if I delete that and I create those, it will go automatically to and stand on one of those temporary masks. So don't forget to go here to your base mask, to your original base mask, okay? So high key, let me try that. I'm going to grab my selection, my marquee tool selection. I'm going to go over, okay, over here. Let me do that. Now I want to add, let me try the super strong. Let's see what happens there. Okay, it's too much, I think. I'm going to go with strong white. Okay, and again, I forgot to save that selection, this one. I need to do that first, so forgive me for that. Call it T1. So strong white, load that selection T1. Strong white, okay. Once more. And of course, sky is also going light, but I will fix that in a few moments. So here you see that it's already much better. So now I can use the same T1 like this, and now make it, try strong black. Okay, that's already done. I'm going to go once again, T1, strong black. Okay, that looks pretty decent, right? I mean, if you look here, I can easily fix this here with the normal refine tools. Let me do that, or with the brush. I'm going to use a brush for now. But you see that this is looking much better now, right? I hope you agree with me on that. So set this to overlay. And again, one pass should be enough, okay? So I'm not releasing the mouse, one pass to avoid degrading the edges of the mask, like this, okay? This part. If you look here, see that? Okay, this is a little bit light, I see. So what I'm going to do is select selection T1 again, because it's, I think it's in the range of, see, it's around 2. Okay, so I think I can easily do that, fix that with that, black soft. Okay, so this should be good. Now it's 0, but look at the antenna structure on top of the building. It's doing more justice than the original one with the low, what was it? With the low key base mass. Yeah, you can see that it's looking pretty detailed over there. Okay, I can try and see if I can fix this even better with the low key mask. So, but I would say that this is already looking good, but I'm going to give it a try anyway. But first I'm going to fix this too. So I'm going to load this and see if I can fix it with, well, with this medium white maybe. No, it's not. I can fix it, but yeah. Let me see, it's not getting lighter. Maybe I could have tried the other one too. But here I want to leave those windows black because they're open windows. Okay, so that should represent the sky. But here I can do it a few more times. Okay, I think it's looking quite good. Here it's getting light. Okay, I need to go once with medium black and that should be okay. All right. Okay, let me attempt this and then we'll see if that was a useful attempt. I'm going to delete those first. So actually I don't need that, but I'm just trying to do it. So I'm going to go with low key because we've already seen that low key would perhaps match this part of the photo better. Okay, so I'm going to go to low key, create a low key. All right, standing over there. Don't forget to stand over here. And now let's say, just select this part, the problematic part. Let's see if you can do something with it. Let me see. Am I? I'm just wondering if I can get rid of that in this kind of way. I don't think so, but no. So you see, it's not going to help, but it's already looking well, decent to me. I need to fix this a little bit more. I would do that manually, but I'm not going to do it right now. Is this also clear for everyone? Because I'm going to do one last bird example, because I like to show you that. Any questions for now?
Colin, maybe you want to ask Joel the question in the chat?
Sure. Hi, Joel. I was
Hello.
wondering, like, would it be easier to use intersection mask, like intersecting your critical mask, like
Yeah.
go to the previous screen, like, converting the internal blacks to pure white that way?
You mean with the advanced masking workflow? Are you referring to that or what?
Maybe. Like if you go back to your previous mask, like, there were those,
This one?
yeah, this one. If you magnify in, you have little blacks in there, right?
Yeah.
Can you not just fill that, like create a intersection with the critical mask
No,
and
you
just
can,
fill those black spots with white?
no, you can't do that because the thing is, I'm not sure what you mean, but I think you're referring to this load selection mask and mask, right?
Right, yeah.
No, you can't do that because the thing is, this is pure black,
Yeah.
and I don't think it can work, but I'm going to give it a try.
Well,
So
I meant in the inside, like if you scroll a little down, you see you have those black spots, right? Not near the edges, but
oh, those.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can try and do that. So maybe I could use it for this. Yeah, it will go away. You see that?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
That's correct. But this is not going to work because it's not going to be part of the mask. You see, I
Sure,
cannot do the
sure.
mask and mask because it's already pure black. So I
Right.
need to fix that manually.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go do the last demonstration, but the bird, courtesy to Philippa Alexander. So Philippa, again, thank you for that photo that I can use. So I'm going to use that because I think it's a fun photo and a fun animal. So I'm going to open that and show you how I would deal with this kind of thing. So again, if you look at this, and assuming that we don't have enough unique colors, and the only thing that you would have is the contrast-based method, because I'm not going to do this with the pen tool because this is going to be too intricate, and so it's not going to work. So I'm going to go with the panel. So go to base mask, and my assumption is that it is low key, right? I mean, it's close to low key. So I think I'm going to use that. So let me try doing that. And by the way, if you are not happy with the results of low key, you can always switch to low mid and create those base masks as well. Okay, so if I click here, here, and here, I'll see 3 decent masks. Okay, I'm actually quite happy with that. But let me make sure that the low mid, the adjacent zone, is going to result in much better base mass. So low mid 1. Okay, I think it's too much of a correction within the bird, but I can already see here that I can do some advanced refinement to reveal this part in the bird over here, or I'm going to do something else, and I'm going to show you that something else. Okay, instead of going to go with the advanced refine mask. So what I'm going to do is say the following. I'm going to use the low key mask, and I think I'm going to go with low key 2 because the bird looks already quite good, right? Go to low key 3, then it's also looking good, but it's more of a correction, I think. So I would go, let me see, low key 2 and 3. I think I'm going to go with low key 2 because if I go with low key 3, I have to refine it here. And I don't want that because the thing is, the feathers I want to leave intact as much as possible. So here, this would be better. The thing is, the rest, the legs, I cannot cover, so I have to do that with the pen tool. This part can never be covered because the thing is, the contrast here is so low that I really have to do this in a different kind of way. And I'm also going to do that with the pen tool. By the way, it's also possible to do this part with the color range tool. But I'm going to do that with the pen tool just to make it quick and to show you how you can do that as an additional form of masking within the use of the Quick Mask Pro panel. So here, LK2 is going to be the one that I'm going to use. So I'm going to get rid of LK3 and LK1. And I'm going to use the low mids to add those transparent wings to the bird. Okay, I will show you later how to do that. So first of all, I'm going to go in because I want to lighten this, and to make sure that I'm only lightening the ground, I'm going to go in and make sure that there's no white left in there. So here you can either use the lasso tool and just click on Quick Refine, Fill Black, for example. You can also grab your brush, set it to black, set it to overlay 100%, and then go like that. And whatever you prefer, okay? Because here I'm not going to change too much there, you see that? But I shouldn't have gone over the feathers, so I'm going to do it again there. Here, this is just, okay. That, just doing it very quickly, like this. Okay, this is pure white, so I cannot do that with the overlay. So here I have to go to normal, set it to black, make it a little bit small because I don't want to go over the edge there. Okay, because it looks like this. That's the black line in the bird's wings. Okay, oh, there we go. All right, so I think the rest is looking good. All right, yeah, just a quick look. Okay, all right. I think I can make this a little bit darker there, so I'm going to go in and brush over it, set it to overlay. All right. Again, you can also do it with the lasso tool and then click one of those presets. So now I'm going to make this white. And the trick, of course, is to mask and mask method. So you stand on the mask itself, the base mask, load selection, load that mask itself, and then go with, you can also go with fill white, by the way. It's 100% normal white, but I prefer to go with this because this is a little bit more safe. Okay, and I think it's enough. All right, deselect. It's a little bit left here, so I have to do it again. One more time. All right, this should be good. Let me check. Yeah, okay, I forgot some parts there. Just go with your brush over it. But all in all, looking pretty decent, right? Okay, so like that. I'm also going to look at those feathers over there. Also looking pretty decent. And the people who've seen my video know that if you do it manually, you can do it even better, right? It's you have a little bit more control over it. But if you don't know much about masking or Photoshop, then this, I think, this panel will give you a very decent result. All right. So I have that. And now I'm going to fix the hat a little bit. So the way to do that is to, okay, let me have a look at it first. I need to start somewhere around this part. Around that part. So I'm going to start there. And what I always do then is to just duplicate the layer, make it a little bit lighter. And you see that this is always going to be a problem because there's no contrast in there. So you have to do it manually. So I'm going to adjustments, oops, curves. I'm just going to make it lighter. And then we'll delete the layer. It's just for me to see it better there. Okay, like that. So now I'm going to grab my pen tool, just do a very quick pen tool selection. It's not going to be super accurate, but just give it my best in the time remaining. Okay. If you want to know more about using the pen tool, there are some great tutorials on the internet. I will show you that later in the slideshow where you, oops, where you have to go to. Okay, I'm just going to do it quick. Okay, just to give you the idea. This is not looking very good, but I want to show you how I do that. Some make selection. Suppose that it would be a very accurate selection of the bird's head. Then just go in here and then just click on fill black. So that's all you need to do. All right. It's not too difficult. So you go to your layer, make the selection there, then switch back to your, while the selection is still on, switch back to the channels. Then stand on that, then click fill black. The same for the legs of the bird. So you just go in here. Okay, that's what's happening there. So I'm going to make a very, very quick selection because I want to show you something else that's even more interesting. So go in here. Okay, just, oops, that doesn't make much sense. Okay, I'm just going to say that this is his only leg. Okay, click on that, right click, make selection. Okay, 0.1 pixel feathering, stand on there while still active, then click fill black. So this is not looking good, that leg, but I think you get the picture, right? It's more about the idea, how to do that, than about accuracy over here. So now I have this mask. I'm going to get rid of this because I don't need this anymore. And like I said, hold on. The thing is, if you look at the photo itself, you see that it has transparent wings. And this is something that I like to reflect in my mask. So this shouldn't be solid black, right? It should be more something like this here. Sorry, like this one here. This is a very good example. So what I'm going to do, instead of using the advanced refine mask, is the following. I've already created those with the base mask, so the low mids. What I'm going to do is to go stand on here. You see, okay, let me grab my lasso tool. I'm going to make a selection of what I want. This part here, with the transparency of the wings, I want to have. Okay, and I want to put in here in my base mask layer. So if you look at this, you see that this mask, I want to load in here. This is white, so that's going to be revealed. And this is black, it's not going to be revealed. So if I use this one, I need to make sure that this will be dark over here. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. I have to fill it with black. And now I load it with the low, what was low mid 1 or 2? I forgot. Hold on. Low mid 1. Okay. So I've made it black first. The low mid 1, intersect it within that selection. and then click on fill white. And there you have it. Easy, isn't it? So
Yes.
that's how you can combine those masks together and come up with a transparent part of that bird. Yes, question? Let me know. I heard a question.
Can we see it again, please?
I didn't hear the question, by the way.
Could you just show the last bit once more with the intersection?
Okay, I will do that. I'll go back a few steps. Okay, so hold on a minute. So I want to have this transparent part over there, right? I know that I have it in here in the low mid one. So I indicate that with my lasso tool like that. Okay. So I want to have this part in here. So I have to make it black first to be able to add white. I hope that makes sense because things, you know, if I make this completely black there, then this is only the part that I can use, that I can affect this part in. Okay, so I'm going to use that, fill black. Now I have to click on this and then load that low mid one, intersect it, and now I can fill white. It's a nice trick, isn't it? Is that clear to you, Phil?
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm going to try it right now, otherwise I'll forget it.
Yeah, it's there are basic tricks, but I think they make a lot of sense. So this is the way that you can add parts of another mask to this part of your base mask. Okay, so the last part went in a rush. It was a little bit too fast. I hope you guys would have been able to follow it anyway. Any questions for now? Because I'm at the end of my demo. It's already 30 minutes too late. And I still need to come up with a quiz. Any questions, anyone? Is it clear what the Quick Mask Pro panel can do? And that you basically have to use the base mask, quick refine mask, and this, if you use advanced refine, it's then only use that if you want to use a different kind of tonal zone that isn't covered by the base mask. So if you use base mask, let's say low key, and you're going to refine it with advanced refine low key, then you're going to run around in circles. Okay, don't do that. So if you use base mask low key and you have a good base mask, and you want to correct some things, then only do that with your advanced refine if it covers a different kind of tonal zone, like mid-high or low mid, whatever. Okay.
Joel?
Yes.
So several people, we know that you're going to put this on YouTube,
Yeah.
but I think the people here are a little bit concerned that they can't find it. So will you send out that
Yes.
link to YouTube to everyone present here?
I will send it to everyone who owns the Quick Mask Pro panel or the advanced masking video. That's double.
Excellent.
Advanced masking video. Okay. Okay. If there are no more questions, I would say, Mike, let's start with a quiz.